ProClubs. There was a time where it was fun. When I first picked up FIFA 15, the hype was all around foot. But there was something missing, and when I found out that you can jump in lobby with your teammates and versus other teams, that was it. ProClubs back then was full of bugs. You could tackle your own teammates, you could run through the goal net, you could make the worst but best ProClubs face in the world. And there could be glitches when you celebrate. You could go on a goalkeeper run at the end of the game with full stamina and just slide and glide past every single person on the pitch and score a long shot. How do I know this? Because I was there, playing all the time, playing every day. Contrary, do you know what the glitches are now? You can't load into your games, or you might cop the statue animation as a goalkeeper, where you can't even dive. After your game, you often have to reset the lobby because it just freezes. Or your player is somehow 80 rated when he's supposed to be 93. More often than not, when you score a goal, the whole server lags for around 10 to 15 seconds.
Potion. Right, there might be lag.
There are far too many kit glitches because the captain can't change his own kit. Or what about the camera glitch as a goalkeeper where you can't see the field? What about when ProClubs is always stuck in loading and you basically have to exit the game to fix it? Or when only half of your team gets into game and that often means you gotta quit, lose points, get relegated. Can you see a theme here between the two? On one hand, those bugs between FIFA 15 to 18, they weren't necessarily game breaking, they actually made you laugh. It's what added to ProClubs. When you saw it, you would more often than not just start crying of laughter. It's what it was all about, just having a laugh with your mates. The bugs nowadays are more towards the field of not being fit for purpose. In fact, I don't know how this game mode every year gets put out in this state. Well, besides bugs, how about the changes they've made? Back in FIFA 10, there was things like accomplishments. You score your first goal, you improve your finishing. In fact, you had a whole pamphlet of things that you could accomplish. And as a result, you can achieve exclusive kits, exclusive celebrations, or the ability to upload your own face onto ProClubs, so your virtual pro can look like you. Or how about when there was exclusive private custom leagues, where you and your mates could verse each other, or you can invite a bunch of teams just in your own private league. How about FIFA 11, where the lobby was clearly cared for, there was a lot of love put into it. Or when you could actually select a real world team, like Everton, and you and your team could control an actual player from that team. I can be Pickford, you can be Calvert-Lewin, and the same goes for the opposition. They could be Liverpool and they could select Salah or whatever. Even when you could just jump in a drop-in lobby, you can see who you're gonna verse, you can see who's on your team, you can actually talk to them on the mic, you can select the position you want, and if there weren't enough people, you could just back out, find a new one. Remember the catalog feature where you could buy boots, buy whatever you want? Okay, so what changes do we get now? We get a streamlined drop-in system that isn't very streamlined. In fact, it's slower, you don't match up with as many people, you don't see anything. You can't change your position, so if someone else is playing striker, the game's just gonna allocate you whatever position they want. And drop-ins is dead. What else? They've apparently improved the face customization, but a lot of people disagree, including me. They added perks and a skill tree instead of accomplishments. They probably could have kept all three of them, to be fair. That would have worked really good. And you can verse an AI team now. Fun! So why am I bringing any of this up? Why make this video? It's in response to the hashtag #SaveProClubs from VPG. Quote, "It is unacceptable that customers who have purchased your product FIFA 23 are having their experiences marred by a broken ProClubs mode, which has been broken for over 30 plus days. Despite customers attempting to contact EA to ask for a resolution, it appears that EA are not taking any steps to fix the issue. The issue has been added to the EA tracker with no update and prioritizing foot packs over customers being able to play. The same issue that was once fixed, then in the next update it was broken again and made things 10 times worse." Now, something that a lot of you weren't aware of, including myself initially, was that there's a lot of key stakeholders around the ProClubs community that actually work and help EA with ProClubs. They have a very important voice and they gather the community's problems and communicate that to EA in the hope that they will listen. Take for instance the CEO of VPG. He volunteers his time just out of care for the community. He passes on feedback, he has a voice, and he's really trying to make sure that ProClubs is in a good state. But what I've learned from these people is that their voice falls on a lot of deaf ears. Now, in EA's defense, of course things take time, things have to be prioritized, but that's why the third thing that I want to talk about, ProClubs has never been a priority. They fix things and then they become broken again. They purposely make the game mode more unintuitive and of a lesser quality every year. And where ProClubs was once prioritized and the decisions made were actually relevant to the game mode and improved it, Now, all the decisions made are basically chasing FUT. For instance, crossplay comes in FUT, oh okay, ProClubs will get it in 2 years' time. This clearly shouldn't be the case, and when ProClubs came out in FIFA 09, it's so evident that they had different plans back then to what they have now. You could tell that this game mode wanted to be so much more, but when you have 14 years, yet 14 years to improve one game mode, and it actually goes backwards, there's a deeper problem at hand. So yeah, I'm back in the hashtag SaveProClubs trend on Twitter, and I really suggest you should retweet and do it yourself as well. And why do I support it? Because ProClubs should be at the top of the list when buying a FIFA game. They should be advertising it as number 1, and it could be. It absolutely could be. Imagine running esports or e-league pro clubs, where it's a huge tournament where the top 100 on the leaderboard or the best teams in pro clubs all face off in one venue. I tell you what, that'll attract an incredible amount of viewers. And the prize pool money for that amount of people will be insane. EA thinks pro clubs is a waste of time, whereas I actually think if they were to prioritize it like they do FUT, in the long term, they'll be making so much more revenue. And why is that? Because not only does the game mode have so much incredible potential, but because you have an inbuilt community of truly loyal customers that even when they're given shit, they still play, they still jump on, and they still have fun. And it's not very often that you have a community this big for a game mode that's this bad. There's so many popular YouTubers and streamers and news outlets that all support the game mode too. And I see just from my own channel the amount of incredible fans of this game mode. They're not really fans of me, I don't blame them. They just love watching pro club stuff. And where there's opportunities to bring in FUT champs into pro clubs to make it much more competitive. Where you can bring in a badge system like 2K or that accomplishment system that incentivizes people to play more as they increase their pro. Or even to just monetize the game mode, I don't think anyone would complain if that means that they'd prioritize it. There's too many suggestions, and that in itself is its own video. But you know what the bare minimum is? Just fix the bugs and make sure your game mode is actually fit for purpose. Funnily enough, I'm probably the biggest supporter of EA you will find. I understand there's costs and clearly ProClubs isn't making money for them. So here's an idea. How about you collaborate and actually work hard over the 12-month period that you have and find a way to fix that? I'm sure you can. And believe me, the benefits will be more than monetary. Again, I completely support the hashtag, and I really respect VPG for putting it out prior to the release of EAFC. You know, instead of being reactive, let's be proactive, because that way they might actually fix these things in time for the game. Let me know what you think, and more importantly, let me know the changes that you think ProClubs can benefit from. If you were working for the ProClubs team, what choices would you make, and what would you bring into the game mode? The ProClubs Discord link is in my bio, feel free to join, we're over 1,100 members. And yeah, that's it from me. Take care, stay safe,